From age to age, on virtue's age, shall live the deathless story. His loss remained the martyr's gain. His shame, the martyr's glory, till truth shall lie and honor die, and time itself be hoary. Taken from a poem about Imam Hussein alayhi salam by poet Justice Russell. Tonight is a special night indeed, as we commemorate the occasion of Arbaeen, the 20th day of the month of Safar, which was 40 days after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala. The day on which the surviving members of the Imam's family and companions, which mainly consisted of women and children, arrived in Karbala, after they suffered the imprisonment and humiliation in the Levant by the Umayyads. This night is a especially great opportunity to let our minds rewind a little bit and take a closer look at the historic epic of Ashura. The story that lived through 14 centuries, almost 14 centuries, and received a great deal of attention by all means, not only from Shia Muslims or even Muslims, but from people of different origins and beliefs all around the world. For this, I quote Antoine Barra, a Christian scholar, who said, "No battle in the modern or past history of mankind has received more sympathy and admiration and provided more lessons than the martyrdom of Hussein in the Battle of Karbala." Many other well-respected scholars and people were quoted and discussed in an earlier talk titled Imam Hussein in the Eyes of Non-Muslims by Hassan al-Jama. And you can refer to it on our Facebook page titled Hussein, the Language of Humanity. Now, compared with other stories of martyrdom, why would the story of Ashura receive all this attention? Is it because of the number of people who were massacred in it? Or is it because of the violence that was exerted by the tyrants on the Imam and his family and companions? Indeed, one cannot deny that these factors were greatly important. But along with these are the lessons that can be learned from Ashura. Ashura is seen as a struggle between the good and the evil, between right and wrong, between the oppressed and the tyrant. And upon the examination of the story, surely there are lessons that we can learn and from which we can benefit, especially those that are tangible and can apply to our daily lives. Tonight, I'd like to highlight some of these lessons from Ashura. In our lives, we're often faced with perplexing situations in which we truly believe in something. And over time, we might change our behavior towards this thing only because the majority of the people around us don't believe in it. Now, obviously, the consensus can never be or should never be ignored because it naturally gives us more assurance about our own perspectives. But remember that everyone has their own brain for a reason. And the decision that we make at the end will be our own, and it should not be negatively affected by other people. Let's follow the great example of the Imam's companions in Karbala, who were merely 72 people. Despite the fact that their number was very small, they were only 72, as opposed to the huge army of the Umayyads, which was 30 or more thousand people. They stood with the Imam until the last moment, and they did not back down because they truly believed in his cause. Let's also keep in our mind the great example of Al-Hurr, who was initially part of the Umayyads' army. But once he met the Imam and he analyzed the situation objectively, he changed his mind and he changed his opinion. And he joined, or decided to join, the Imam and his companions. Indeed, keeping these great examples in our minds will remind us that when it comes to right and wrong, it doesn't matter how many people think similar to us. What really matters is the decision that one comes up with after an objective analysis of the situation. Not only did the Imam and his family and companions who stood with him until the last moment stand with him until the last moment, but they were also able to achieve the goal that they wanted. And they did plant the seeds for change in the future through nonviolent resistance. In our daily lives, we observe people who do want to do good. They do want to induce change in their lives, in their families, in their societies, or even the humanity as a whole. And arguably, the thing that people complain about the most when trying to achieve these tasks, these voluntary tasks, is the lack of sufficient people to help support their cause. And if they finally give up on that cause, they would rationalize by saying that there was not enough people to support their cause. Here we can learn from Ashura that no matter how few the people are supporting you, if you truly believe in your cause, and if you really work hard towards achieving your goal, you will be able to create change in the end. Or at least you'll be able to plant the seeds for it to grow and flourish in the future. So the Imam alayhi salam and his family and companions, with their collective struggle and efforts, were able to accomplish the goal that the Imam set when he said, "I have not arisen for the purpose of exuberance, arrogance, or corruption, but I have done so in order to seek reform in the nation of my grandfather Muhammad, peace be upon him. I want to promote virtue and prohibit vice. And I want to follow the path and tradition of my grandfather Muhammad and the path of my father Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam." The Imam alayhi salam did not arise alone. He took with him members of his family and a number of his companions, answering the command of God as the Imam mentioned. Looking at the age and gender distribution of the Imam's comrades, we see that it included a wide range of ages, and that the women had a strong role in the resistance. There were some elderly people, such as Habib al-Mudahir al-Asadi. Most of the participants were the youth, naturally, and there were even children. The role of women was most pronounced through Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam, who displayed the greatest levels of patience and strength during Ashura. Not to mention her strong, famous sermon in Yazid's court. So the change occurred as a result of a collective effort. And the message to take from this is that regardless of the age and gender, there is a role for everyone in the process of change, be it social, political, or cultural. And when we speak of the change that the Imam alayhi salam induced, we speak of a valuable change, one that brought about and promoted freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom from oppression, despotism, and dictatorship. All men are born free. And the story of Ashura and the struggle of the Imam taught us that this freedom is priceless. Imam Hussein alayhi salam said on the day of Ashura, death with dignity is better than life with humility. He also said to the followers of Yazid, I am your Imam, and it is my duty to tell you that you have surrendered your minds and the freedom of your minds to the evil ways of Yazid. If you do not care for Islam and do not fear the day of judgment, at least care for that precious gift from Allah, the freedom of your spirit. Ashura is indeed an important milestone of our history, and its lessons are countless. Its story lives with us today, in the present day, because anyone can relate to the values of these great lessons. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is indeed the language of humanity. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.